The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with Undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution and Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is, we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with Undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news, untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambatv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with Undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution and Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with Undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news, untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambatv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team. The Amba War Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort, while our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Ambazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The War Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. It is well known that at least 95% of Ambazonians of every county, home and abroad, would prefer a totally free Ambazonia and any geopolitical construct with La Republic du Cameroon. But the enablers and blacklegs, fully understanding the historicity and legality of Ambazonia's quest for freedom, are choosing to function at variance with the cause, seems to be adding some more numbers to their few, with Nicolas Santos seemingly one of the tops on the enablers chart in the Ambazonian quest for freedom. While the peoples of Ambazonia are resilient, the never-again generation are way too enlightened and seems to be too focused for a cheap distraction. Bad roads are still a prevailing obstacle to a lot happening in Ambazonia. There's a lot more going on in Ambazonia that we intend to look into in tonight's Undaunted. But before anything else, let's get the prime headlines.
Prime headlines for today, August 18th, 2022. Today, we will begin Undaunted by examining an infectious element in the liberation movement, talking about the blacklegs and the enablers. Is CPDM the sponsors of these enablers is the question we will be asking today. With the current landslide, locals engage in head carrying of goods to survive. Agony of using Bamenda Road is another story we will be examining today. Matazam border crossings and Monday ghost towns are going to be compared today as well. Bamenda denizens bothered with hike in palm oil price. Villages that make up Donga Mantun County will be looked at today, and I'm sure that you will learn a thing or two from it. And of course, in sport, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, billionaire, wants to buy Manchester United. Today we begin Undaunted by examining an infectious element in the liberation movement, blacklegs and the enablers. Who are they? An enabler is someone who persistently behaves justifying or potentially harmful behavior. According to Ambazonians, these are individuals who see, know, and understand the historicity and legality of Ambazonia's quest for freedom, but chooses to function at variance or in contravention of the course. Our case study is Nicolas Santos. Nicolas Santos seems to be one of the top on the charts of enablers and blacklegs in the Ambazonia quest for freedom. This is where we begin the full briefings of Undaunted tonight. I am Onyi Opmaler, and as always, Star Smart is here. Good evening, Star.
Good evening, Onyi. Well, I think no one could have examined this infectious element in the liberation movement any better than Ambazonian activist Jennifer DK, and here's what she wrote. She says many people saw the Ambazonian struggle as an opportunity to pursue personal interest against the suffering of the masses. They thought it would be a quick march. After realizing that it was a long-haul journey, many began showing their real colors. Nicolas Santos is one of such people. She says, one, he and others organized the APNC to stage a coup against the leadership of the interim government that failed, And 2, he and others created what they called the Transitional Restoration Council to replace the Restoration Council of the interim government that also failed. 3, he later brought up the Ghana Peace Conference, in which he branded himself as a peace ambassador, even though the conference never held. 4, then he went in for elections as a cadre of the CPDM in Diaspora Chapter, Maryland area, even though he lost the elections. 5, now he has created what is called One Cameroon Congress. All of these dubious initiatives are being championed and propagated by My Media Crime. Just imagine if Ngu Santos was Patasang in 2016. There would be no Ambazonia, she says. That's Jennifer DK's examination. We've said here on Undaunted time and time again, this liberation struggle is not an opportunity to enrich pockets or gain high positions in the cause of the struggle. Like the name implies, it is a struggle to liberate a suffering and oppressed people. But here we are with people acting in contravention of the cause, thereby fostering this oppression on the peoples of Ambazonia. It's sad.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
It is well known that at least 95% of Ambazonians of every county, home and abroad, would prefer a totally free Ambazonia and any geopolitical construct with La Republic du Cameroon enablers like Nijon Fundi, Nicolas Ngo Santos, Paddy Asanga, Ellie Smith, Moja Moja, Elvis Ngole, Colonial PM Dion Ngote, and a few others have tried to change these in diverse ways to no avail. The peoples of Ambazonia are resilient. This never again generation is enlightened and seem to be more focused on cheap distraction. We have another CPDM paid enabler by name Eswa Kizito Mbong, who writes and signs a communique purporting that Southwest Youth League have never advocated for a 10-state federation, but have asked for 10 decentralized regions, and so they should not be associated with talks contrary to their declaration. What an unfortunate lie. Now let's read the press release that dated August 17th, 2022 before even commenting further.
The press statement: in the past few days, there has been a message circulating on social media claiming that the Southwest Youth, during the All Southwest Youth Conference on 7th May 2022, in one of the resolutions requested a 10-state federation, and the conference was chaired by the president of the Southwest Regional Assembly. The president of the Southwest Youth League wishes to make it very clear that there was no resolution taken in favor of a 10-state federation. The position of the youth, the Southwest Youth League, and remains 10 decentralized regions. Consequently, the said message pointing that the Southwest Youth League stands for 10-state federation is fake and should be disregarded. It should also be made clear that the president of the Southwest Regional Assembly was not present during the All Southwest Youth Conference of May 7, 2022. In their message, they even wrote that the conference held on May 8, 2022 instead of May 7, 2022. We of the Southwest Youth League dissociate ourselves with the said false message. This was signed by Esua Ebon Kizito, the regional president. According to Mr. Mbong, who happens to be the head of the CPDM created group, also called Southwest Youth League, wants us to believe that he has mobilized youths during this wartime that could be so ignorant of their birthright.
Now, there is a litmus test to this. A survey conducted by religious leaders ahead of Cameroon's September 30th October 4th major national dialogue indicated the severity of the nation's Anglophone crisis. Even though we do not believe it's an Anglophone crisis, we think it's a war of independence, according to the country's sole Catholic cardinal. Cardinal Christian Tumi, the Emeritus Archbishop of Douala, and a delegation of religious leaders met with Prime Minister Joseph Dion Ngute, who is chairing the dialogue on September 18 with the 400-page results of a survey conducted in what they call the country's volatile Anglophone regions. According to reports, the Anglophone crisis began in 2016 when demonstrations broke out in the English-speaking Northwest and Southwest regions after there were demands to use French in their common law courts and English model schools. English speakers made up around 20% of the country's population and have long complained about being marginalized by the French-speaking ruling class. After Cameroon security forces heavy-handed response, including using live ammunition on demonstrators, rebel movements arose calling for the independence of Anglophone Cameroon, saying the new country would be called Ambazonia.
Now, according to the UN, the ensuing fighting between the separatist and government forces has led to the death of at least 2,000 people and the displacement of a further 500,000 people. Tumi says over 1,000 Anglophones responded to the questionnaire and that a vast majority, 69%, want to secede. Quote, "In our questionnaire to Anglophones, we tried to influence the Anglophone opinion, but we did not succeed. Therefore, it shows how deep the problem is. When we said, what form of government do you think can solve this problem? Federation or decentralization? I think just about 4 or 5 people reacted out of 1,000. 69% said absolute separation." Tumi told journalists shortly after his meeting with the Prime Minister. The Cardinal said the questionnaire did not even ask about the possibility of separation, only giving the option of federation or decentralization, but respondents used the space provided below the question for other options to write in separation. We drew the conclusion that 69% of our respondents are convinced that if we want to love each other, that is to say, if the Anglophones and Francophones want to live as brothers and sisters, absolute separation, that is to say, secession, is important, Tumi said. We do not need to go any further into the Tumi survey. Mr. Mbong should get his reactions from us at this level. Even if you want to do fraud, it should be sensible at least.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
We reported on Monday, August 15th, 2022, of a landslide that occurred in Widdicombe, leaving 2 dead, with enormous property destroyed. The landslide also caused the collapse of a roadside bank over the road linking Bamenda to a neighboring Nigeria through Batibo, Mamfe, and Echo Corridor. Getting to Widdicombe from Batibo is now impossible with the use of vehicle, given that the heap of soil on the tarred road is still begging to be removed. The local population have tried to attempt to clear the blockage with crude tools, but their efforts are not enough to make the road passable for vehicles of any type to pass. Left with no other choice than to bypass the heap of soil, road users of that part of the region have created a footpath. Through this footpath, they can now transport their goods from one end of the blockage to another by carrying them on their heads. Why are the colonial authorities not in a hurry to clear the heap and render the road passable? Is it that these so-called administrators are just comfortable seeing the common man suffer? It is a question Undaunted can't answer, but considering the policy of La République du Cameroon for Ambazonian, it is a calculated delay to inflict more pains on southern Cameroon's Ambazonia.
Days to the resumption of the new academic year, the people of Widekum are cut off from the chief town of the Midland region of Ambazonia, Bamenda. This is a result of a landslide of Sunday, August 14th, 2022, at a locality called Tiben in Widekum that caused a heap of soil to cover the road. Transporters now do turn at the different ends of the heap of soil on the road without crossing over. Road users have to transport their luggages on their heads through a footpath to the other end where other vehicles are waiting to continue the journey. Some youth have found employment on the spot as carriers. They carry heavy luggages on their heads to the other side of the heap of soil. Road users are very much appreciative of these carriers for the services they render and compensate them financially. Many passengers carry their bags of lighter weight by themselves and only pay the carriers to carry heavier luggages. Transporters talking to Undaunted expressed their frustration and wondered why the authorities are not helping in the clearing of the road. At press time, the heap is still to be removed and road users only have their heads to transport their luggages.
A road user talking to Undaunted said, and I quote, "The Yaoundé government is failed and keep failing every day. How can a major business road like this one be blocked for these number of days and nothing is being done?" The road user, who preferred anonymity, lamented. Let's have a watch of a video of the plight of road users in Widekum after the landslide.
When I would control this, where if it's everybody suffer for road, and say, I market today will fair go no day or we no joy day or na see people then. Landslides for Tiben, we no joy day na day. You can see people suffering. Where Papa Shia or where they carry cap on only for hit. We no day or we no day. On a walk for 1 week, on a all for 1 day. Where people they suffer. Where just go carry Okada bring up, Papa. I say repair Asha. Mr. Wilfred. Asha, Papa. Where good attacker. Where on a Bambi for hit.
People they don't look at surrender.
Where?
That means even half a year, they never even hear from movie.
We know day. Maybe Rose. Asha, Papa. Where? Oh, sir. This is over route. We'll see where that will feel good. Man, walk on inside bush. Wow. Where the spirit up, Asha? Ah, sir. One motor. Warrior. Wait, you share. Why, doctor? Where? Jigga him up. Bro, if you want to go. Where when I show. Who said the thing there? Well, let's shut up.
All right, of course you can see how they are all struggling to pass that. We hope that the authorities would do the right thing to get the road free for the road users to be able to go through them.
Seeing the nature of roads in Bamenda by someone who saw and used the same roads in the 90s will be really disappointed with the regime. It portrays a retrograding developmental pattern whereby things are rather moving from good to bad. This is a sort of proof that the road network inherited by the colonial president Paul Biya from his predecessors has not benefited from any rehabilitation. Yesterday's tarred road in the town of Bamenda is today a shadow, given that no sign of tar can be spotted again on these roads. But earth roads spiced with potholes of what they have become. With advancements in technology to speed up developmental projects, Bamenda is still to see the plus of technological advancement as road network on the region is concerned. The town of Bamenda is nothing more than a forbidden city. This is just a manifestation of the diabolic attempt of the colonial regime of La République du Cameroon to dehumanize the people of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Like, how come there is not a good stretch of road in a town termed city? That is supposed to be Bamenda City. Is it true that for the people of southern Cameroon to enjoy good roads, they must be separated from La République du Cameroon?
Now, the roads in Bamenda are in very, very poor state, as seen in the frequency and occurrence of potholes, with the depths and widths ranging from 7 to 9 meters. Despite the very poor state, the roads are heavily plied by vehicles, motorbikes, and pedestrians on a daily basis. The roads do not conform to constructions and engineering norms. Most have not been equipped with road signs, signboards, pedestrian path, zebra signs, parking facilities, and gog drains. The above is the concluding statement of a study titled Agony of Circulation in the Bamenda Metropolitan Area of the Northwest Region of Cameroon. The study is carried out by Leslie Ntubia and Loris Fombe, respectively, of the Department of Geography and Planning, University of Bamenda, and Higher Institute of Transport and Logistics, University of Bamenda. The study is published in the International Journals of Arts, Humanities, and Social Science, Volume 03, Issue number 02, February 2022. The concluding statement of that study is the tip of the iceberg as to the agony and nightmare faced by the people of southern Cameroon as they use the roads in the headquarters of the Midland region of Ambazonia. Come to think of it, Bamenda, that was given the appellation city by colonial president decree to harbor 3 local government areas in Bamenda, is, to say the least, a show of itself as far as road infrastructure is concerned.
And going by the study cited above, the condition of roads in Bamenda are not safe for users at all. For several months now, Bamenda population have been wondering aloud and questioning how on earth a city can possess such deplorable state of roads, causing road users to see themselves as in a state of perpetual agony as they play the roads on daily basis. The truth is, every new day welcomes Bamenda people to a new nightmare when they think of another 12 or more hours of usage of the potholes, water pools, trenches, and undulations that have become the trademark of roads in Bamenda, chief town of Midland region of southern Cameroon.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Alright, fellow Amazonians, as you can see, this is the Bamenda Road. This is not the first time that we've reported of the very bad nature of this road. You can see potholes everywhere, and you can see people even moving and trekking by themselves. Like we also mentioned in the news, there are no road signs, no symbols. The roads are terribly bad. And it's amazing how people are even coping with the nature of these roads. Well, we believe that as we report the bad nature of this road on a regular basis, that the needful will be done.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
A Bamenda-based journalist working for one of Cameroon's leading weeklies newspaper narrated his journey. He just returned from Douala after a business trip. He complained they arrived the Matizem border at 4 a.m. and only succeeded in filing past 2 security cordons after 4 hours delay. Hyperbolically, that's almost the amount of time Africans trying to cross the Mexican border into the United States take. This is a picture of what southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians go through in the hands of colonial authorities of La Republique du Cameroon. The colonial Paul Biyer's regime has put in place a mechanism to frustrate the people of southern Cameroon and render them more vulnerable. Why such a treatment on a particular group of people in a country that is supposed to be one?
The answer is yours for you to make. Well, since the outbreak of the conflict in the 2 English-speaking regions, Defense Ministry officials erected stiff security belts on both sides of the Matizem crossing. Vehicles arriving from East Cameroon are obliged to wait until 6:30 a.m. before security officials, who are usually not in a hurry, begin screening from one passenger to the other and from one bus to another. Come to think of it, the fact that 6 accredited travel agencies plying the Bamenda-Yaoundé, Bamenda-Douala, and Bamenda-Boya Limbe roads, each of them loads at least 3 full to the brim 70-seater buses each night on the route to Bamenda. Then you would be talking of an astronomical figure of at least 1,260 passengers that congregate each morning and at the same time at the Matizem border crossing, and who have to be manually controlled on each of the sides by less than 4 outstretched security officers. Acting as if they are border control soldiers of 2 different countries, the same operation is repeated just 20 meters away on the southern Cameroon side of Matizem. Just 1 mile away from Bamenda Upstation, that is at Akoum, the same robust military operation is undertaken and with the same minutes detail. Same holds for passengers obliged by the deteriorating security situation to take off from Bamenda for other regions before 5 p.m. every day. Only that they are on the vantage point because they gain 4 hours moving eastward by arriving at their destinations in the neighborhoods of 1 to 2 a.m.
Those traveling westward, that is to Bamenda, lose 4 hours between Matizem and Akoum checkpoints. In all and in 1 year, people traveling from other cities to Bamenda by night lose at least a total of 1,444 hours per year, being an average of 4 hours per day. Now, what this means is that Cameroonians living and working in the northwest region have lost 72 hours just at the Matizem border crossing in the last 5 years of the conflict. One can conclude without any fear of contradiction, therefore, that more hours are being lost per day, per week, per month, and importantly per year to the Metazam security belt crossings.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
The hikes in the price of basic commodities and construction materials is normal observance in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Inasmuch as it is the responsibility of economists to explain certain changes in the prices of goods in local and international markets, it is an obligation for the nation to play a regulatory role of the prices of goods and services within the national territory. The marketplace is a jungle in a situation where price regulatory institutions fail in their responsibilities to regulate prices of basic commodities. When the price difference between neighboring towns is just the additional cost as a result of transportation, it's understood. Not like the injustice with the price of cooking gas, SCTM, that is sold in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia for 8,000 francs CFA and 6,000 francs CFA in a neighboring town in La République du Cameroon. With just the above example and with the passive attitude of the colonial administrators in southern Cameroon to regulate the price, it is the glaring evidence of the economic exploitation of the people of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia by the imperialist BR regime. The continuous increase in the prices of basic commodities without a corresponding increase in the income of household is a problem. What can a common man do in the face of hikes in the prices of basic commodities?
The price in a liter of palm oil has doubled. A liter of palm oil that was sold in 2019 for 500 francs CFA is now being sold for 1,000 francs CFA. The paradox with this is that the palm oil is being produced in southern Cameroon, yet southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians are now paying double for a liter of palm oil. Undaunted visited a trader in palm oil to find out the reason for the hike in the price of palm oil. The trader in the palm explained to Undaunted that there are two principal reasons for the hike in the price of palm oil. Now, the first reason is that the labor force involved in the production of palm oil has reduced. Now, this is so because the youthful population have left the villages from where we buy this palm oil for fear of their lives. The military seized every young man in the village as an Amba fighter and killed them discriminately, forcing them to abandon the village. The second reason is that in these villages where we do go for palm oil, Nigerian traders are also buyers in these village markets. Those villagers prefer selling to the Nigerian traders who buy at higher prices than us. So, only few quantities left for the home market. With the high demand for this little quantity of palm oil, therefore, the price is forced to rise. This is what this trader, who has been in the business of palm oil for 15 years, reviewed as the causes for the hike in the price of palm oil. Now, from the above reasons, it is evident that the colonial government of Paul Biya is the main problem behind the hike in the prices of palm oil in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia.
This is sad. The colonial military of La République du Cameroon have forced the young population out of villages by tagging them separatist fighters. This has caused a fall in the quality of palm oil produce. The colonial authorities have failed to regulate the influx of Nigerian traders who are economically strong than their southern Cameroon's counterpart from buying all the palm oil in the local markets. Households in the city of Bamenda are bothered with the hike of the price of palm oil, and they wonder when the prices will drop again, if it will. They had palm oil as a perfect substitute for vegetable oil, that the price has equally skyrocketed.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
For some weeks now, Ambazonians have turned out and up for the draft. The slogan cry has been draft until we drop, and that's why they have been doing, and that's what they have been doing as well. Kudos to everyone that has been drafting responsibly. Kudos to everyone that has seen this draft as their responsibility. Bravo to all that had seen the future even now. Last week was Libelem. A huge sum of over 45,000 US dollars was raised. This week Saturday will be Donga Mantun County, DMC. How much will they raise? We will find out by Saturday, so you just be calm and wait till Saturday. But before then, let's study and learn about the villages that are in DMC.
It would be my pleasure to list out the villages that make up Nkambe Central Local Government Area. And the villages that make up Nkambe Central Local Government Area include 1. Kungi, 2. Konchep, 3. Binshua, 4. B, 5. Sa, 6. Wath, 7. Nwangri, 8. Kup, 9. Chup, 10. Mbot, 11. Nkambe, 12. Bongom, 13. Tabekin, 14. Njap, 15. Binka, and 16. Mba. The people of all these villages speak the same language called Limbum. The estimated population of Nkambe Central as of 2018 is 171,487 with a growth of 4.86% per annum.
All right, let's go to the next village, and that is the Ndu local government area. Let's see the villages that make up this local government area. We have the Ndu, we have the Njikang, Njila, we have Wowo, we have Taler, Ngarum, Taku, Nchundip, Liu, Sen, Ntumbal, Njirong, Ngula. We have Nshimako, we have Sina, we have Sop, and Mbigo. Now, the people of all the villages above speak one language called Limbum and are of the Wimbum tribe. Ndu local government area has an estimated population of 95,000 inhabitants as per 2018.
Now, the villages that make up Misaje local government area, the villages that make up this local government area include 1. Chunge, 2. Kibo, 3. Bame, 4. Nkanchi, 5. Kamala, 6. Mfume, 7. Dumbu, 8. Bebekete, 9. Sabongida, 10. Akweto, 11. Kameni, and 12. Kwe. This local government area now is made up of 3 clans, namely Kemezum, Chani, and the Besa. The 3 clans speak different dialects actually. The population of the local government area is estimated at about 26,641 inhabitants.
Now, the villages that make up Ako local government area, the population stands at 40,349 inhabitants. The village that make up Ako local government area are Ako, Birabe, Zimbe Aburo, Mbiribwa, Mpenchere, Akwache, Mba, Ase, Akwase, Abunshe, Buku, Abamfum, Ndaka, Abuenkpa, Akwenko, Ndei, Abande, and JV. Now, there is one main ethnic group in this local government area, and it's called Mbembe. They speak virtually the same language. The population is estimated at 44,349 inhabitants.
Another local government area we'll look at today is Unwa local government area, and the villages that make up this local government area Unwa includes 1. Adere, 2. Bang, 3. Bitwi, 4. Nchas, 5. Loose, 6. Comb, 7. Mbala, 8. Kwaja, 9. Juri, 10. Kofa, 11. Manang, 12. Mba, 13. Mbat, 14. Mbepji, 15. Sam, 16. Ntim, 17. Ntong, 18. Kwak, 19. Fam, 20. Ngug, 21. C, 22 Bom, 23 Gom, 24 Mfe, 25 Nwa, 26 Mbe, 27 Nkot, 28 Rome, 29 Yang, 30 Nguri, 31 Ntame, 32 Nwanti, 33 Ngum, 34 Mbiribka, 35 Nking, 36 Nwat, 37 Ngom, Sabongari, 38 Nyurong, 39 Ngom, 40 Jasto Gwembe, 41 Ngamfe Kurt, and 42 Lee. Well, Nwa local government area has an estimated population of 122,000 inhabitants. Nwa local government area is like the oldest in the northwest region. It was created on July 4th, 1963. There are 42 villages, which I just mentioned, made up of 3 clans, namely Mfumte, Yamba, and Amba.
Well, you just need to note that the above are gazetted chiefdoms in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. It should be noted that there are many places, especially in the Wimbum area, that some people consider as villages or chiefdoms, but they are actually quarters of other villages as per the official gazette of chiefdoms in southern Cameroon. It should equally be noted that some of these quarters have become big enough to have the status of chiefdom. We hope sooner than later the competent authorities will gazette more chiefdoms.
The Amba World Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort, while our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Ambazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop. Alright, you're welcome back. On Tuesday, we started an editorial titled, "Will there be peace without justice?" Well, just in case you didn't meet the beginning part of that editorial, we have the concluding part here for you to watch.
Even Mahatma Gandhi's famous non-violent campaign was actually a campaign against the injustice of British imperialist rule. Finally, the recent Arab Spring was an uprising against decades of undemocratic, unelected, monarchic, corrupt, brutal, unjust and unfair regimes. Against the background of the examples cited, where the absence of fairness and justice led ultimately to the absence of peace, it is now relevant focusing on the recent Anglophone problem, experience for the sake of perspective. For how long must the cheated be asked to turn the other cheek in the name of the so-called peace? What is the guarantee that the cheat will be magnanimous next time around the playfair? How is future fairness to be assumed when it is true that current power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely? Perhaps a more credible peace would be achieved where an unfair, unjust and corrupt system is against the background of the examples cited, where the absence of fairness and justice led ultimately to the absence of peace. It is now relevant focusing on the recent Anglophone problem, experience for the sake of perspective. For how long must the cheated be asked to turn the other cheek in the name of so-called peace? Perhaps a more credible peace would be achieved where an unfair, unjust and corrupt system is challenged, tackled now so as to instill responsibility in persons charged with conducting future elections. I get so frustrated hearing on the radio and TV, reading from newsreels and the social networks, supporters of La République du Cameroon, as well as indeed some dubious intellectuals who all plead that for the sake of peace, Ambazonians should subdue. What then is glaringly and dangerously ignored or subjugated, if not justice and fairness towards Ambazonians? It is not a shouting contest where the party that shouts peace, peace loudest is the true adherent of peace. Action, as is said, speaks louder than words. If you peddle an image of peace and conduct acts that exclude actual peace through the absence of fairness and justice, you lose the moral right to the accolade of a peaceful party. It is not the peaceful gathering in one tiny spot off by people who are paid by the oppressors to keep up deflated spirits pending the legal fight that is a threat to peace. Rather, it is the injustice that has necessitated this gathering and march that is a greater threat to peace. How can we talk of peace and dialogue when we call the oppressed terrorists? Reggae superstar Peter Tosh sums the value of justice with these words: everyone is crying out for peace, but none of them is crying for justice. Equal rights and justice. Equal rights, fairness plus justice equal peaceful coexistence in this world. This is the essence of a state of peace that is doctored without one of its core ingredients, justice. Peace without justice is both unsustainable and fragile and will only culminate in the complete denigration of the fabric of any social setup. Justice offers not only a sense of closure, but also keeps a certain level of significance in place for the rule of law, thereby creating a space where peace is automatically fostered into existence. In any social setting, in the aftermath of war, this is essential. Principles of transitional justice then come into play where a post-conflict society finds ways to rebuild itself. A crime like genocide has no law of limitation or statute of limitations. To this end, therefore, seeking justice in the form of compensation or financial recompense is not automatically barred. The pursuit of justice is not unfounded. Acceptance of history and seeking justice for a historic crime is one of the foremost values for the future. Unless the past is addressed, healed and attended to in a wholesome manner, no future can be stable. In every rendition of history, the truth must be accounted for in entirety. History that is written by a victor's hand could shape a future that is built on falsehood, and a future built on a falsehood will keep a circle of conflict alive. In acknowledging the truth, necessary efforts must be made to account for the truth, to act on the truth, and to engage in closure. What Germany will choose to offer Namibia as a response remains to be seen, but if a precedent must be set for the world, that peace cannot sustain without justice. This is the opportunity. The head of state of La Republique de Cameroon, through his ministers, sent envelopes to victims of their atrocities, is no solution to the crisis. 1. Peace without justice is tyranny, and that is a quote from William Allen White. 2. It is certain in any case that ignorance allied with power is the most ferocious enemy justice can have. James Baldwin. 3. My mama used to tell me, if you can't find something to live for, you best find something to die for, and that's from Tupac Shakur. 4. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolutions inevitable. John F. Kennedy. 5. I do believe that where there is only a choice between violence and cowardice, I would advise violence, and that's from Mahatma Gandhi. 6th quote is, in the end we must remember that no amount of rules or their enforcement will enforce those who struggle with justice on their side. Nelson Mandela. 7. Where there is power, there is resistance. Michael Foucault. 8. Fighting for one's freedom, struggling towards being free, is like struggling to be a poet or a good Christian or a good Jew or a good Muslim or a good Zen Buddhist. You work all day long and achieve some kind of level of success by nightfall, go to sleep and wake up the next morning with a job still to be done. So you start all over again, and this is from Maya Angelou. The 9th quote here is, a system cannot fail those it was never meant to protect. That's from W.E.B. Du Bois. The 10th quote, truth is powerful and it prevails. That's from Sojourner Truth. The 11th here is, I will not have my life narrowed down. I will not bow down to someone else's whim or to someone else's ignorance, from Bell Hooks. Corns can expect justice from a court composed of chickens. This is the 12th quote from African Proverbs. And the 13th one is, one life is all we have and we live it as we believe in living it. But to sacrifice what you were earned to live without belief, that is a fate more terrible than dying. Joan of Arc. 14. Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade people, neither people nor property will be safe. From Frederick Douglass. 15. Throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most, that has made it possible for evil to triumph. And this is from Haile Selassie I. 16. A riot is the language of the unheard. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 17. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Mother Teresa. 18. Though force can protect in emergency, only justice, fairness, consideration, and cooperation can finally lead men to the dawn of eternal peace. Dwight G. Eisenhower. 19. There is no true peace without fairness, truth, justice, and solidarity, from Saint Pope John Paul II. 20. Brave men do not gather by thousands to torture and murder a single individual, so guardian bound he cannot make even feeble resistance or defense. Ida Wells. 21. Resistance is feasible enough for those who are not heroes by nature, and it is an obligation, I believe, for those who fear the consequences and detest the reality of the attempt to impose American hegemony. And this is from Noam Chomsky. 22. Be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, respect everyone. But if someone puts his hand on you, send him to the cemetery, from Malcolm X. 23. The dead cannot cry out for justice. It is the duty of the living to do so for them. Lois McMaster Bujold. 24th. True peace is not merely the absence of war, but the presence of justice. Jane Addams. 25. Despair and frustration will not shake our belief that the resistance is the way, the only way of liberation. Emily LaHood. 26. A desire to resist oppression is implanted in the nature of man. Tacitus. 27. Reconciliation should be accompanied by justice, otherwise it will not last. While we all hope for peace, it shouldn't be peace at any cost, but peace based on principles, on justice. Corazon Aquino. 28. If we are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. If an elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse and you say that you are neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality. Desmond Tutu. Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidity to pure wind, and this is from George Orwell. 30 would be to the wrongs that need resistance, to the right that needs assistance, to the future in the distance, give yourself. Carrie Chapman Catt. 31. It is highly convenient to believe in the infinite mercy of God when you feel the need of mercy. But remember also His infinite justice. B.R. Hayden. 32. In the absence of justice, what is sovereignty but organized robbery? St. Augustine. Let us learn to find things where they got misplaced, if not, our efforts are hypocritical. People calling for prayers for peace who cannot condemn the regime are not different from the prophets of Jezebel, John 8:32. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That is where this very inspiring article came to an end, and that's where we end our editorial for today. If you want more of such articles, kindly visit our website at www.abcambertv.com for more. Become a part of this winning strategy. Subscribe and become a club member today. Find our payment details on your screen. I am Star Smart reporting for Undaunted ABC Amber TV.
And now sports. Sports for today. News of the 69-year-old interest follows a Bloomberg report that the Glazer family are willing to sell a minority stake in the club. The logic is, if the club is for sale, Jim is definitely a potential buyer, Ratcliffe spokesperson told The Times. If something like this was possible, we would be interested in taking and talking with a view to long-term ownership. Meanwhile, United, 20-time English champions, are bottom of the Premier League after losing both their opening games of the season under new manager Erik ten Hag. We have more of Sports Report here. Let's take a look.
Latest world sports, football.
Sir Jim Ratcliffe, billionaire, wants to buy Manchester City. News of the 69-year-old interest follows a Bloomberg report that the Glazer family are willing to sell a minority stake in the club. If the club is for sale, Jim is definitely a potential buyer, Ratcliffe spokesperson told The Times. If something like this was possible, we would be interested in talking with a view to long-term ownership. United, 20 times English champions, are bottom of the Premier League after losing both their opening games of the season under new management Erik ten Hag. The woeful start has intensified criticism of the Glazers and their perceived lack of investment in the team. This summer has seen new signings fail to materialize, including a fruitless pursuit of Barcelona's Dutch midfielder Frenkie de Jong, while superstar striker Cristiano Ronaldo could leave Old Trafford. The club has struggled since Sir Alex Ferguson retired in 2013 and has not won a trophy since 2017. There have been multiple protests against the Glazers' ownership in recent years, including one in May 2021, which caused the Red Devils' home league match against Liverpool to be postponed. United fans are planning another protest against the American family during their latest meeting with their Anfield rivals on Monday at Old Trafford. Lancashire-born Ratcliffe, the majority shareholder of chemical group Ineos, is a boyhood fan of the club. He also owns French side Nice, Swiss club Lasagna Sports and Ineos Grenadiers cycling team. While Ineos has a partnership with the Mercedes F1 team, this is not about the money that has been spent or not spent, the spokesperson added. Jim is looking at what can be done now, and knowing how important the club is to the city, it feels like the time is right for a reset. Earlier on Wednesday, Elon Musk, the world's richest man, said he was joking after tweeting he was going to buy United. Musk 51 is reported to have a net worth of $270 billion according to Forbes, while Ratcliffe is worth an estimated $16.3 billion. In May, Ratcliffe made an unsuccessful £4.25 billion offer to buy Chelsea after owner Roman Abramovich put the London club up for sale. At the time, Ratcliffe told BBC Sports he was still a Manchester United fan and the reason he was not bidding for the Red Devils is because they were not for sale. Tennis. Rafael Nadal loses at Cincinnati Open in first match since returning from injury. Rafael Nadal's first match since pulling out of the Wimbledon semifinals because of injury ended in defeat at the hands of Croatian-born Koric at the Cincinnati Open. The Spaniard 36 lost 7-6, 9-7, 4-6, 6-3 to the world number 152. Nadal has spent 6 weeks recovering from the abdominal muscle injury and the defeat in the round of 32 match is a blow to his US Open preparations. The year's final Grand Slam event gets underway on 29th August. In terms of New York, it's a Grand Slam, a different kind of tournament, said Nadal, who has won the US Open in 2010, 2013, 2017 and 2019. I was only able to play 2 sets before this match in the last 40 days. I know that to gain condition, I will have to be on the tour practicing with the guys.
ABC Amba News.
And with that sports report, we have come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, here is a recap of our major stories.
Today we began Undaunted by examining an infectious element in the liberation movement, blacklegs and enablers. Is CPDM the sponsors of enablers? Is the question we answered today. Widdicombe landslide, locals engage in head carrying of goods to survive. The agony of using Bamenda roads.
Today we examined the Metazambother crossings and Monday ghost towns. Bamenda denizens bothered with hike in palm oil price. Villages that make up Dunga Mantle County is what we gave you today. And in sports, we told you that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, billionaire, wants to buy Manchester United. And that was it for tonight Undaunted, bringing you the news on church stories. On behalf of my co-anchor Star Smart and the entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in. I am Oni Opmala.
We'll leave you with ABC Amba TV images. Good night and God bless you.